What's up, Legion? Welcome to I Still Call It Lariat. We are a pro wrestling podcast. We are the okayest pro wrestling podcast ever. My name is Steve Zapf. I appreciate you getting back with us after a little bit of a hiatus between my co-host facing the death and me moving, hence the new Red Room studio. We are finally back. I am, of course, Steve Zapf, your venerable leader, and with me, as always, my boy Hound. Hound Dog, how you doing today, buddy?
It's good to see you, man. Legion, good to speak to all of you again. You were not lying about a slightly more than mild case of the death. Mother Nature is currently, like you thought my feud with Takeshita was a blood feud. Mother Nature's next, coming for her. Make up your mind, 5 degrees, then 60 degrees. I'm never going to be okay again. And I live right next to the woods. I've accepted it. I'm just going to be sneezing and coughing for the rest of my life.
Let me know how your feud against Mother Nature works out.
It's going to be fine. I'm not going to win, just like I wouldn't win in a fight against Takeshita, but still, I can still feud from a distance.
Yes, perfect. Let's feud with both of them. Fight with them at the same time. It'll be perfect.
I'll hit Mother Nature with Takeshita.
Yes. You might win then.
Yes, I believe I would. Because Takeshita is a force of nature.
He is a force of nature. It's really sad we were about to say the same thing. Oh, man. Real quick, Hound Dog, before we get into all the pro wrestling talk, let's go over some of our nonprofit organizations that we help out with and support. First, of course, being Tap Cancer Outs, a series of jiu-jitsu tournaments that helps out with Alex's Lemonade Stand, American Brain Tumor Association, Isabel Santos Foundation, Little Pink Houses of Hope, Camp Sunshine, Christopher's Haven, the Sidney Kimmel Comprehensive Cancer Center at Johns Hopkins, CureCervicalCancer.org, First Descent, a new one, the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and of course, everyone's favorite, Tom Coughlin's J Fund.
Let's see if I've got one in me today.
Let's see. You've been sick. We need it.
Fund. I hope that comes through, man. That one.
Oh, that came through. Oh, I caught it. I felt it.
That rumbled in my tumbly. It was a rumbly.
I felt it in the nether regions. It was nice. And as always, we will, of course, have links below in our description for the American Red Cross and their varying disaster relief funds, whether it was wildfires or snow that shouldn't have been places or hurricanes or just everything. This is an amazing organization that is helping out so many people right now. And honestly, we can't speak well enough of how much they help people. So same thing between Tap Cancer Out and the American Red Cross. And last, but certainly not least, is Chris Bay's GoFundMe. We continuously hear good things about what is going on with Chris Bay, and we hope that that's all we keep hearing is good things, that he keeps recovering even more and more, that he lives the most full life after everything that he just went through with the neck surgery. As I've always said, selfishly, I want him back in the ring because I want to see him do what he does best. Unselfishly, I hope at the very least that man gets a normal life and he doesn't have to worry about not being able to provide for himself and his family.
Absolutely.
How, you got anything? I was going to say, you got anything you want to add to?
I 100% do want to add this. Mr. Bay, if you happen to hear this, sir, I'm glad to hear about the improvements. I don't care if it's a centimeter, an inch, a mile. I don't care how much it is. Each improvement is wonderful, and I can't wait until we can hear you speak on this and it becomes a powerful testimony of overcoming. So I'm proud of you, man. You're in my prayers. And yeah, that's how it goes. Legion, put them in your prayers too.
Legion, as always, again, wrestling community. I love the fact that the wrestling community has come together so nicely for this. Also, Legion, if you are listening, if you like us, if you just kind of are okay with us, please, if you are enjoying anything that we're doing, hit that follow, hit that subscribe. It is so helpful to us. We love coming to you guys every week, and it helps us out greatly. To, if nothing else, if you like it, it spreads us to even more people and more people. And we love talking to all of you. And as always, comment, hit the likes, comment whether you agree with what we're saying. Comment if you don't agree with what we're saying. I can attest that we comment back on everything that gets said on our channel on YouTube and on Spotify at this point. So if you guys are commenting on our stuff, I guarantee you that we are answering you. But with that said, Hound Dog, wrestling talk? It's been about 10 days or almost 2 weeks since we've had wrestling talk. I think we should have some wrestling talk.
Yeah, I suppose we can give the people what they don't want.
Us, let's give them something. Shop. I mean, yes, it's us. So I think that's the part that involves them not wanting it, because we're ugly and
listen,
dumb.
How dare you? First of all, I resemble those remarks, but don't you dare say that about my friend. Nobody says bad things about my friend but me.
That's fair. God, I missed you.
I've missed you too, my brother.
Oh, man.
Legion, while we're on the topic, listen, our most sincere hope is just to give you guys a chuckle. And I was a truck driver for more than half my life, as Steve knows. And it got to a point where I didn't listen to music while I was driving, because you're by yourself all the time. And you start listening to podcasts and stuff to feel like you're in a room with people. So we're hoping we serve that purpose for you. We become your two idiot friends that you just love yelling at the radio at, being like, "You're so dumb.
Stupid. But also, I want to meet you." All right, Legions and Hound Dog. First thing I want to talk about around the world is Triple H reveals, there it is, the WWE ID titles. I'm not gonna lie, they look pretty cool. This is to coincide with the LFG program, and also Evolve, which they are starting back up starting next week, I believe. The first week of March is going to be when Evolve starts up. And if you notice, Evolve just happens to fall on a Wednesday. Weird.
No strategery. There's
strategery. Yes.
There's the not word I was looking for.
Yes, that's the word, strategery. I'm in for the strategery. Oh man, that's like prenoring.
Prenoring.
We need to strategery to preneurs.
Oh, that's going to be the name of our consultant group.
Oh, it's going to be terrible.
Incorporated.
Strategery Incorporated.
Oh, no, it's going to be. You're going to get a negative ROI. Don't worry about it.
Oh man, it's going to be amazing. All right, let's get back on track a little bit. Hound, what do you think of these titles? What do you think of this, given these WWE ID kids? Maybe something to strive for. Obviously, they are going to be presented now in front of some sort of national audience, at least with Evolve and with LFG and all of this stuff.
I have no issue with it because it's kind of its own thing. So you really do need to have here is the pinnacle, the figurehead, whoever it is that you're saying, all right, you're going to be the initial flag bearer. The titles look cool. They pale in comparison to the Saudi title. That is the
everything pales in comparison to the Saudi title.
Eventually, you will see 1 week it will be on my shoulder.
I can't wait. Oh, Hound, have you checked out this LFG show at all? I've seen clips. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the first episode or two yet.
I've only seen some clips. I'm going to leave my commentary until we see what kind of legs this thing gets, because I mean, it's going to be around for a little while at the very least. So they're investing in it, and I don't think this will be a failed venture in the slightest. What I would like to remain cautiously optimistic, because we've mentioned many times when discussing NXT. Well, NXT is its own thing, and to call it like developmental anymore it almost seems like a little bit of an insult, but it is what it is, and we've said, I'm like, I want to see them make those mistakes there and watch as they grow week over week. And you see that, okay, the punches look better, the kicks look better. Hey, they're running the ropes better. The happy feet are gone. Those things like that. So I just don't want this to turn into, this is the feeder system to NXT. And
I mean, that's pretty much what this is. This is their actual feeder system. This is not like, everybody was worried that TNA was going to become a feeder system. This is their real feeder system. Well, I'm only happy about this because these kids that are getting ID'd, the coaches that they have for LFG, it's Bubba Ray Dudley, it's Mickey James, it's Undertaker, it's people who are going to teach you a thing or two. And if you don't listen to them, you're an idiot. Like, listen to these people. These are people who have drawn money over multiple decades.
Yeah.
And like on the biggest stages and multiple big stages, not just one company.
Well, and what's really great about it is the fact that Taker is involved. And that's the thing. Once Taker was able to hang up the Taker gimmick and just become Mark Callis, and he could finally break kayfabe, anybody in the Legion, do yourself a favor and go listen to any stories he has to tell. Like, especially when he realized he was going to be working with Mr. Kennedy and realized he could draw money with him. And that was the whole thing with Taker every time. It's like, we can draw money here.
Yep.
And if those kids listen, that'll be great. They need to listen to Bubba Ray Dudley because he's actually got about 7 screws loose and he will beat them up. And yes. Mickey James is one of the greatest to ever do it. So not heeding the wisdom of the elders and the wisdom of, the 10,000 hours of mastery there. If you're going to come in there with some kind of overblown ego, like who was that one kid way back in the Tough Enough days? Daniel Puder.
Yeah.
There was if you don't do that, I mean, it's the only person I would say that I'm glad that they're not going to have like Hardcore Holly there and Fit Finley there because, but I would love to hear that Regal's involved.
I could see that. Yeah. I really like this idea. By the way, folks, I very rarely post or talk about and promote other podcasts on here. I have recently started listening to Taker's podcast. And in the last couple episodes, he's been telling stories from the road. He tells a story about when he was in WCW in like 1990 and he got to room with the Iron Sheik. It's pure comedy gold. Like, that's all I had to tell you was...
I've heard it. It's so good.
Folks, go listen to it.
Marky Baba.
Oh, cold air, good for the workout. Oh, we don't room with Sheiky. Well, you could have told me that. It's so good. And I kind of like seeing the facade of Taker being gone. Not the facade, but the gimmick of Taker being gone, where now he is just Mark Calloway, and we get to see him kind of telling stories about his buddies that he hung out with. Like, he's a guy that liked to drink Jack Daniels and, and hang out and ride motorcycles. And there's nothing wrong with that. He just also happened to draw more money than almost anyone in the history of wrestling.
His gimmick as The Undertaker is quite possibly my favorite, character of all time. But how close he was in actuality to the American Badass version, it's where he could just kind of be himself. And that's where, not looking at it, especially after seeing him be able to hang the character up, and it's like, oh, that must have been the most fun for you. I'm sure the pageantry of it all and the eye roll and everything else to, perfectly timing the hands to raise the lights with the eyes and all that other stuff. But just being able to go out there and be himself. Yeah.
It's
it's so good.
Well, I remember me and you talking about it. What was it when he was on? What was he? He was on the Broken Skull sessions.
Yeah.
And Austin breaks out the bottle of Jack, and he's like, "Do you still drink, right? He's like, I mean, I don't like I used to, but when I do, I do. And you and I were just both like, you scary, scary man. Like, I don't want to sit with a bottle of Jack Daniels in you because it'll go away quick.
Well, here's the thing. I am virtually the same height as Taker. I think he's got me by an inch or two at most.
It's one way or another. Like, one of you has the other one by like an inch or something like that.
Yeah, and Legion, I'm a big dude, and Steve knows this. I'm 43 years old, and the last time I had an alcoholic beverage, I had one entire alcohol at your wedding.
One entire
alcohol drink, and prior to that, it was my 30th birthday. So I don't drink. So the idea of sitting down with Taker with a bottle of Jack Daniels, look, I do it. I'm not going to remember anything half a shot in because I am literally the cheapest date of all time.
Now, Legion, this is what you don't know about me. At one point, I might have enjoyed to imbibe a little bit more than I do now. And I feel like if I was sitting with Taker and he put that bottle in front of me, that's a direct challenge. I need to hang with Taker. Otherwise, I have lost all of his respect. We're never going to get the chance to do this, but I someday hope, in my hope of hopes, that like that's my goal for this show at some point is to be able to sit down with Undertaker and pour a Jack with him.
Yeah, as somebody who is who doesn't drink, if that all came to pass, I 100% would. I mean, we don't have to tell people it's actually iced tea in the glass because I'm such a lightweight, but we can pretend.
Oh, man. It'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. With that, let's get down to the business, as they say. This week, we have NXT. Just so you know, Legion, we are only reviewing NXT and Dynamite this week. Unfortunately, to go along with both Hound having the death and me having the move, both of us just kind of didn't have the time to watch everything that we needed to watch, but we wanted to make sure we got some type of content out to you guys. I know it's been about 2 weeks since we got something real out to you, so I wanted to make sure we got something. We want to get back onto a real schedule at this point. So, with that said, NXT, hailing from the Performance Center. This is the episode that was on February 18th, 2025. And the show opens with the NXT heavyweight champion, Oba Femi, coming to the ring and basically calling out the 4 guys that jumped him at the end of Vengeance Day. And instead of the 4 guys coming out to answer that call, who comes out, Hound? Moose. I don't know if I've looked forward to 2 large men hooking it up more than I'm looking forward to this at this point.
Yeah, I agree because it's going to be a good test for Oba because Moose can go. Moose can go
absolutely
with anyone.
Go.
Moose can go with anyone on the planet. Like, folks, if you have not seen Moose go, and this is, I'm telling you now, like, I want you to think back. Yeah, Roman Reigns wrestles 6 times a year right now. You put him and Moose in there, it's going to be an absolute classic. You put Moose in there with Seth Rollins, it's going to, anyone on the planet, you name it, it's going to be incredible. And he's the same size as Oba Femi. Oba's a little bit, like, just a little thicker.
He's a little thicker. I think Moose might be a little taller, though.
Yeah, they're two big boys. And now Oba's promo work is getting much, much better. And I never thought Moose's was never bad, but it certainly wasn't his strongest suit. His strongest suit has always been his in-ring performance. And there was a line that Moose hit Oba with, which, and I kind of agree with this a lot. He's like, there's just one person you can't rule over, and that's me. And I was like, yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And then to know that, now, listen, we know in the end, Oba's not dropping the title to a TNA guy. But if he did, Moose makes perfect sense. I mean, I thought they missed the boat with Hendry not winning the NXT title because they could have capitalized and struck while the iron was hot. But, we believed. He showed up at number 15, and he is the TNA champion. So
we believe. I've actually said this. If we had somebody maybe unify one of the belts, at least for a little while, I wouldn't be completely mad about it. So, like, sake of argument, the problem is I would expect it to be Moose at this point, and I don't see Moose going anywhere near the TNA World Title anytime soon. Again,
he doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. I think he works perfectly with that X Division title right now, where he can be the proof that it's not weight limits, it's no limits, and he puts on great matches with all of these guys. But I think that's the thing is I think Moose is the right choice for this, or would be the right choice for it. But if like a TNA guy were to unify the TNA and the NXT titles, at least for a little while, still keep it 2 belts, and eventually like they'd have to split them up, obviously. But I wouldn't be mad about it for a little bit. I've actually been looking more at it as the women's title would be fun to do. Like the NXT women's title and the Knockouts title would be a really fun grab for them to do a double title, someone having both.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You're going to have to, like, as soon as you said Moose being the guy, I immediately thought of Moose and Tony D'Angelo doing something. And I think Moose having both the North American and the X Division title, where, sure, maybe it's only a month he holds both together. But to think that is the stepping stone to reach the NXT title is getting through Moose is quite good. Now, I think eventually Moose will jump ship and be a part of NXT and WWE. But at this point, I'm kind of glad that people are going to be able to flow back and forth between, and you don't necessarily have to be flying a banner and clutching your pearls that hard now. If they do something where they unify those things, yeah, the women's title and the Knockouts title would be a good thing. You can't have the women's North American and the Knockouts do that, because the moment you do that, you are saying, the Knockouts title is beneath.
It's a lesser title.
Yeah, when you do need it to have parity. So, yeah, but I wouldn't mind seeing Masha Slamapopovich and Julia hook it up.
I wouldn't mind that. And now here's the thing. This is actually the person that I'm thinking would be a good grab, a good pick to hold both titles at the first time for at least a little, like I said, just a little bit. They don't need to keep them together forever. And Hound, I think you're going to like this one. Cora Jade. I wouldn't mind seeing Cora Jade being the one that be like, oh, like, she grabs the TNA title, you don't expect it, and then all of a sudden, after all this stuff that kind of the dust settles with over at NXT, she goes over there and takes that title. And you're like, wait, this is happening? And I think it'd be I don't know if it would be a like booing factor or a cheering factor. I think it'd be like a factor, like, oh, like I don't know how I feel about this, but I feel a way about it.
When you said that, I got the exact vibe of when Chris Jericho won the first unified or undisputed championship back in the day, when he won the whatever was the Big Eagle and Big Gold.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's because Jericho was the one you weren't expecting, and he beat Stone Cold and Rock in the same night.
Just ask him; he'll tell you.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. I mean, if I did it, I'd tell everybody. I would, every time I walked in a store, be like, did you know I did this? To everyone.
Because I did that. Oh, man. All right, so we are obviously going to see Obafemi versus Moose at some point. I'm excited for that. The first match for the night is a 3-way for the number 1 contender for the women's North American title. It's going to be Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, and Carmen Petrovich. So this match is good. I feel bad that this match got more attention for a wardrobe malfunction than it did for the actual in-ring work.
So I know what you're saying there, and I agree with you on it, but I need you to also remember the the generation we are in. We are in the now the generation of where most people get their information through YouTube Shorts and TikToks and all that other stuff. I mean, for crying out loud, everything that's old becomes new, and we've circled all the way back to communicating with hieroglyphs because that's all emojis are. So at this point, yeah, but that's going to be the thing that stands out because that's the viral moment. The match itself was okay. Nothing super to write home about. Yeah, I was fine with the finish. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Kehlani Jordan because I feel like they're heading somewhere with her, but I can't tell what it is yet. It's one of those where it's like they're doing a thing, but I don't know if I'm looking left or right.
It felt like they were taking her heel, and now it just feels like they're just having her feud with Jada, who is kind of a heel. So it's a little weird. I don't mind, like I said, I don't mind Carmen getting this match, getting this win. I think she is improving by leaps and bounds right now. My only critique of this match was it just seemed, and it could just be them having an off night. I feel like I've never seen this out of any of these three girls before, but it just seemed like there was a lack of selling and too much preparation for moves. If you catch what I'm saying, there was a point where Kalani, I think, went for some type of moonsault or something, and Jada was already bracing for it, and it was just too soon. Like I said, it's little things that me and you probably catch more than other people do, but it was just it looked. There were little, like I said, it was those little things that kind of left me wanting in the match. Overall, match was good. Like I said, I'm not mad about the ending. You get Carmen winning. You get Jada and Kalani fighting in the back. You get Fatal Influence coming out to jump Carmen. There's just a bunch of stuff happening here.
But I'd actually like to expand upon what you were saying there. Now, Legion, we assume that if you are listening to us, you're a pretty big fan of pro wrestling. Now, Steve and I both spent a good amount of time in the business, actually doing work in the ring, things like that. So we're looking at things, and I guess the way to say it is we're looking at it with more learned eyes. And I'm glad that you bring those things up, and that's why I always want to point out when you do that I like to see that happen now in this position that they're in, because we do get to see the growth. Because, when they do this, when this ID thing turns into whatever it's going to turn into, because it still has to become what it'll become, it may turn into something where you really got to prove yourself there to hit NXT, and then it's, can you captivate the smaller NXT universe to then carve your way into the WWE universe? I'm okay with that level of progression. So yeah, I don't mind those things. I look forward to them. I like to see when it gets improved, and I think that's the first time those three had a triple threat together. So of course, I mean, the triple threat, is. So that being said, and they're all very new at this, these women. So like I said, nothing crazy to write home about. I was cool with the finish. Finish was a little bit unexpected. I like a sneaky finish.
I like a sneaky finish.
So I'm hopeful for Jada Parker, but I'm like, okay, what are you going to do with her? Like, it's one of those where I'm looking forward to seeing what they are going to do with her. But I mean this with no disrespect, she can very easily be forgotten.
I also agree with that. She's got something, but at the same time, especially in this women's division, it's so deep that it'd be real easy for her to be like, well, it's whatever, there she is. And kind of just like I said before, part of me saying the things I did is that's why I preface it with saying it's something I notice. Yeah. And as you said, we have a little bit more learned eyes sometimes. So it's something that you and I notice where maybe someone else doesn't notice it. But at the same time, if I'm noticing it, it means someone else could be noticing it.
100%.
And
And that's not me like getting on you about it. That's me letting the
oh
Legion know, like, I love that you bring it up. And that's why I always want to give the point of, that's great to point it out. This is something that we can look for together. And then anyone in the Legion, at some point could be like, hey, I remember when you mentioned this, and I've noticed that 3 months later, it is moving smoother. Everything
yeah,
else. Like,
they're not doing it anymore, which is
yeah,
awesome. And that's what I'm hoping for.
yeah, I mean, perfect example is like, the dad moment I had with Cora Jade, where
Corey,
she where
you
she
are
took the
such a
shit with her.
proud papa of Cora Jade.
Dude, I don't know what the hell it is. It's like I'm rooting for that. I'm rooting for that young lady. Like, there's
Oh.
yes, she's super attractive and all that, but it has nothing to do with that. I'm like rooting for her like a dad would.
You really are. At the very least, like an older brother. Like, you're like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay, I'm going to tell you look like a frog later, but I'm proud of you right now.
yeah. I'm gonna fart in your pillow later, but still.
Oh, man. At the end of the match, after when Fatal Influence comes out to jump Carmen, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Jordan Grace come out to make the save. That leads to them setting up the main event for the night, which is going to be a six-woman tag match between Jordan Grace, Julia Vaquer, and Fatal Influence. Again, I'm kind of looking. I'm not mad about that match either. Those are six really, really good workers. It goes right into the next match, which is a women's tag team match between the Meta Girls, Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson, and a tag team that's kind of growing on me, and that's Russian Australian Muscle Mommy, Zarya, Overwatch Muscle Mommy. Thank
There
you,
you go. There you go.
Zarya, and Sol Ruka. Who, it's funny because Zarya is painted as the Muscle Mommy, obviously. Lash Legend is billed as the bougie bully, who, she's obviously the powerhouse. Sol Ruka might be the most powerful pound for pound person in this match right now.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, and you're going to see the comparison I'm going to make here, and just in like the different way that she's built and how strong she is. She was a female Cesaro in that moment there.
Yeah.
Like, you see where I'm going with that?
Oh yeah. Like she's leaner, but not an ounce of just fat on her anywhere. And I'm not trying to make this about her looks, but like that's the thing is it's all lean and she's taller too, so it sits differently on her.
I hope they land this thing with Sol Ruka. She needs time, but she has something very, very special.
I kind of like this tag team that they got going on. This like opposites attract, even though we're friends, we're the weird friends that people don't get how we're friends thing that she's got going with Zarya. I like this. I like this angle, and I wouldn't mind seeing NXT getting the women's tag team titles down to them.
Truthfully, I think they need just their own set of women's tag team championships down there.
I think when they did it too, the only issue is when they were doing it originally, it was during that NXT 2.0 period, and unfortunately, they got everything in NXT at that point kind of got lost in the shuffle. Even the good got lost in the shuffle. I will say this: I'm just not coming along on Lash Legend. I don't know if maybe she's not coming. If she's being pushed faster than I care to push her, but something about it, I'm just not coming along with it. And there was a point in the match. This is one thing that I whoever produced it, whoever agent this match, I would either this slip past them or they need to figure out what happened here. There's a point where Lash and Zarya both have the opposing partners up for a press slam, and both sides let the other person press slam their partner. It's not a very tag team move. Like you showing that you're stronger and you just letting your partner getting beat up. That's something I would have. Hey, like it was cool that you did it, and it'd be cool. It's cool to show off something like that in a battle royal. in a tag team match, I think it's one of those things that I got what they were trying to do, and I understand that, but it's just one of those things I would have been like, hey, like, both of you let your partners out to dry, and they're supposed to be your friends.
So I want to offer you this one change to the spot, and it's totally okay. You have it start. Lash presses Soul when they're in their time one-on-one in the ring, and she jaw jacks to Zarya and does it. When Zarya's in the ring, boom, she hits it and does it back. Doing it that way, anything you can do, I can do better. In doing it that way, the whole thing lands completely differently and makes sense.
Exactly. See, I like that version. If they're not in the ring together at the same time, I like it. The fact that they were face to face while it's happening, and like, I get the visual. Like, it looks cool with the visual because they're both doing it. But the psychology of it is both of you just left your friends out to dry.
Yeah.
Which is something you and Mike would do to me.
Absolutely. But, I mean, of course. But at the thing, well, I don't think Mike could actually press you.
No, he'd let you press me and then just be like, ha 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 ha.
Oh, no, but he'd somehow try to take credit for me pressing you.
Yeah,
I know how this all goes.
Yeah, that's how that's why he's so.
He'll tell the story of, remember that time when I pressed Steve in front of you? I'll be like, what?
And somehow he'll talk his way into like, no, I pressed him. Maybe you did. Did I forget something?
Look, I've been hitting the head a lot. Okay, so here's a good chance I don't know where I am right now.
Perfect. I didn't mind this match though overall. This was again, the women's division in NXT is kind of the starring division here, and I like that. I like that this is one of the, if not the best, women's division that we get to watch on a regular basis.
100%. Yeah, I love that I love that we have, the divas have gone the way of the dinosaur. And
yeah, there's no more divas. You're either a superstar or a wrestler or something like that.
And I love the fact that we have a Julia, a Steph Vicaire, a Jordan Grace. I love all of it. I love that we've got, Tiffy time, and as much as, lol, Charlotte wins and all that, but still Charlotte's incredible. And, Rhea Ripley, who's, I don't care what anybody says, is the biggest women's star on the planet. And, Bianca Belair, all of it. I mean, hell, Roxanne Perez, who's just unbelievable. It's so awesome to see, because the men's stuff has always, it's been so good for so long that when the bar gets raised, it does take quite a bit, but we have been seeing a continual progression of bar raising for the women, and I love to see it, because I don't think we're anywhere near ceiling yet.
I don't think so at all either, and I'll offer this counterpoint to you now, and it's not a disagreement. It's Rhea Ripley's not just the biggest women's star in the world; she's one of the biggest stars in the world.
Oh, 100%.
She's like
100 million%.
Like, I'll give it to you this way. I think the biggest stars in wrestling right now are Roman, Cody, Rhea. And I mean, if she's not in the top 3, she's absolutely in the top 5.
Oh, she's 100% in the top 5. I mean,
like, if you want to say Punk is ahead of her, yeah, I'll go with that one. But I think she might be bigger than Drew and Seth right now.
She's definitely bigger than Drew and Seth right now.
That's what I'm saying, at least right now.
And hell, just wait for Becky Lynch to eventually get back too, because there was a solid year there where Becky was the biggest star in pro wrestling. Exactly. And it was it's so good to see. And I think it's not that we're just scratching the surface. I think we're way past scratching the surface, but we haven't hit the ceiling yet.
No, that's the thing. Where I think we're sitting in the middle somewhere.
100%. And
we might be sitting in the lower end of the middle too. Like we haven't gotten anywhere near the top.
100%. And when they do hit that ceiling, it doesn't get any better from here. They've reached the glass ceiling. Who breaks it?
Rhea. I think it'll be. I think it's always going to be Rhea at this point, or Roxanne. Yeah. I could see Roxanne breaking that ceiling depending on when it is.
Listen, as long as at some point Chelsea Green is women's world champion,
I could see it happening for like
It-
I think it'll be a short title reign, but or like
a day.
or like it'll be a trade back and forth. Like she'll win it, she'll lose it, she'll cheat to win it again. Like she'll be like she'll be a 3 times women's champion in like a year.
Well, I want, what I really hope happens, because it would fit so well, is she wins Money in the Bank and she
Finally.
cashes in. Yeah, she cashes in, wins it, at the pay-per-view, and then loses it back on Raw the next night.
Perfect. I'm in.
It's great. She's in the record books as having it, but it fits her character perfectly.
It completely fits her. All right, so we unfortunately, while we were on our hiatus, we missed one of the biggest debuts in NXT history, and that was
Ricky
last week. Apparently, so I'm going to ask you: do you care about the name change? Realistically,
no.
Is he still going to be the same guy that he was in NXT? Like, he's still going to cut the same promos. He's still going to have the same matches. Like, I don't really care that much. And realistically, everyone who was, who's up in arms about this right now are the same people who were mad about Kevin Steen becoming Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and the people who were mad that Walter became Gunther.
And last time I checked, Kevin Owens had a match at WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes, and so Ricky Saints, Ricky Starks, whatever you want to call him, he's gonna do Ricky Starks things. And look, it's not the Viking experience, okay, folks? It's just Ricky Saints. It's okay. It's still Ricky Starks.
It's fine.
It's totally, the Viking experience was not okay. This is totally fine.
I like that the first person he interacts with is Ethan Page. You want to give me a Stark Saints, whatever you want to call him, Ethan Page, back and forth. Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's have a promo battle with these two for a couple weeks.
100%, and I'm looking forward to it because, first of all, he was woefully misused in AEW. And then treated so horribly out the door. And he is good friends with Cody. So he definitely has friends in high places. But it's not even going to be we're going to air quotes, we'll say nepotism here, even though that word doesn't fit. I can't think of a word, but you know what I'm going for with that. He 100% can do it on his own accolades. But truthfully, I don't think he's in NXT super long.
I don't think so.
I don't think title there, nothing. I think he's main roster bound within a year.
I definitely think so. I think before next WrestleMania, he's up on the main roster. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I wouldn't be surprised because they still have to do a draft after Mania. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets drafted up that quickly.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think speaking of like NXT people getting drafted, I don't see many people going up right now. He's one of them that could go up very quickly. But other than that, they've got a good thing going right now. There's no need to have somebody get lost in, the Jimmy Uso mid-card vortex of doom.
I completely agree. Let's see. After the War of Words, the two of them have Javon Evans comes out, and him and Ethan Page fight up throughout the crowd. And then there's a little interaction between Wes Lee and Ricky Saints. I'm going to try to get used to using his new name. I'm trying. This isn't like Coke. Stupid. I think this is good. This ends up setting up a tag team match for next week with Ethan Page and Wes Lee versus Javon Evans and Ricky Saints. I think that'll be a good match. I think this is the perfect opportunity for a guy like Javon Evans to really, really learn how to settle in with two guys like Page and Ricky, where he's been learning a lot from Ethan Page, I think, over the course of the last few weeks. I think him getting in there with Ricky Saints, Ricky Starks, whatever you want to call him, is another good opportunity for him to learn just exactly what to do in certain situations.
Yeah, it's Javon Evans has hit the point where now he needs to having him not with folks at the bare minimum at their level does him no service. He's hit that point where he's starting to head towards the top of the card. And so when that happens, unfortunately now the pressure gets higher, the temperature gets hotter. And I do think we're going to see Javon rise to the occasion, because I still have a feeling he's going to become so beloved that it's going to be almost like when Sammy won the NXT title, when he finally gets it.
I could definitely see that. I could absolutely see that. We get a backstage segment between Fraxium and the No Quarter Catch crew. This was awesome. If nothing else, both of us love the No Quarter Catch crew. I love all of those guys.
Yep.
And No Quarter calls out the Hardy Boys for next week, and they accept. I'm okay with this.
It's gonna be a good time.
My thing from watching TNA as much as we have lately and seeing the Hardys, they're doing something very well. They've learned how to hide their flaws, which is basically just their age. Yeah. At this point, they can't do everything that they used to do, but they've learned to hide it enough where they're accentuating their positives, basically.
This right now is a perfect thing. This feud is perfect for the No Quarter Catch crew because they're uber athletes. They're next level genetic freak athletes, all of them. Okay, so were the Hardys for a long time. Back when it was Team Extreme, and back when we were having the Edge and Christian and the Dudleys and them just tearing every show apart and doing that stuff together. Which No Quarter Catch crew, I think if they stay together, we're going to be talking about them in the same light when we're older. But they need this time. They need the not that the guys there aren't as tough as nails, but this is one of those where, all right, Junior, this is like the behind the woodshed ass kicking kind of thing. And not that they could, look, let's be real. If a fight broke out, we know who's going to win that thing between those people. But you know exactly where I'm going. This is the old men saying age and treachery is going to beat youth and skill right here.
And I think this is going to be a really, really fun match to watch.
Yeah.
I'll say it this way: Miles Bourne and I'm sorry, I always forget the other.
It's not Tavon Diggs, is it?
Tavon. Is it Tavon Diggs? I think it is Tavon Diggs.
Yeah.
Tavion, I think it is.
Tavion Diggs.
Yeah. But
you know who you are, sir.
You know who you are. I first of all, I like both of them a lot, and I think if they keep going this route, they have an old American Alpha feel about them.
I'd like to see them hook it up with the Creed brothers.
I think that would be fun. Let's move on to the next match that we get, which is going to be Shawn Spears versus the guy whose name you don't like, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, because you want it to be Lorenzo Channing.
Yeah, it's Channing Lorenzo. Like, no, it's Ricky Bobby. Like,
Ricky Bobby.
Why do you have two first names?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
So it's like, no, I want him to be called Tatum Lamas. Okay, at that point, he's Tatum Lamas from now on.
Tatum Lamas, got it. This is why we need this at least once a week, is because it gets all of this stupidity out into the world.
Well, that, and we're aging ourselves right there, because people know who Channing Tatum is, but you kind of have to.
No one knows who Lorenzo Lamas is.
Your beard to gray, and your hair to know who Lorenzo Lamas is.
No one remembers Renegade. Oh man! All right. Let me say this match was really good. I expected this match to be good.
Yeah.
Shawn Spears has been good for years. Years. Shawn Spears has been very good, and we have been saying that Stacks is very good, and this was a really good opportunity for him to show off how good he is with another good hand that we got. We get Spears getting the win at the end of this after having a rough fight between them. And this also adds a little bit to the dissension between the D'Angelo family. We don't know what's going on with Tony. He trusted Izzy, who double-crossed them. All of this stuff going on. I think this was just. I think there was a lot of meat on this bone that they were able to put on there.
Yeah, it accomplished everything it needed to. It let the two guys go out there and show just how damn good they are, and it drove the story forward. So it hit every mark it needed to.
Now then, backstage, we get something that I'm extremely excited about. And that is an interaction between Moose and Lexis King, setting up Lexis King versus Moose for the X Division title next week. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
Give me all of that.
Yes. It's going to be real good, and I'm loving that Moose is going to be seen in front of more people because he's just so damn good, and and he's been so loyal to TNA. He's been so loyal,
and he deserves this. He absolutely deserves this. He's been working his butt off, like you said. He's not always been known for the best promos, and his promo skills have gotten a lot better. I love the idea of the system, like the. Trust the system because the system works. Like, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to touch on this one just a little bit. There's an Andre Chase versus Eddie Thorpe match. During this whole storyline is two of the guys are trying to bring Chase U back. One of them is actually Fit Finley's youngest son. Funny story. Who, it's funny because he wrestles completely different than Fit and David. He is like almost like a true blue, like babyface high flyer type guy. But I don't know if I'm ready for Chase U to be back. I don't know I feel like this is too soon to resurrect Chase U. And
I don't even want to call them Chase U. They just need to be the Southampton Institute of Technology.
Yes, please. I'm still not really that much of an Andre Chase fan. I made this reference once a few months ago, and I'm going to make this reference again. Andre Chase just looks like your uncle at the barbecue who used to be really good at basketball.
He's Uncle Rico.
He's Uncle Rico. He's a little bit more than Uncle Rico. He's what was it? Celtic Pride. He's the guy from Home Alone.
Oh my God!
He's Daniel Stern. He's Daniel Stern from Celtic Pride.
Yes, he is. He's he looks like
he even looks like
he does, but he looks. And I'm going to say this, and you're going to exactly picture this because you've been there and seen this happen. He's every moron I've dragged out of a bar.
Yeah,
while you've been there to look at it.
He's the guy that you pushed over the hood of the car.
I still don't believe I did that.
I have witnesses.
You do have witnesses. Yet, Legion, apparently I threw a guy over a car on accident one time trying to get to a fight when I was a bouncer.
Needless to say, Eddie Thorpe takes the win on this, and we get like a real dark style video promo from Trick Williams on this one afterwards. I want to see where they're going with this, with Trick being more serious. I think he needs to be more serious. I think that's part of the reason why they're having him like have his hair hang down a little bit more too. I would even have them maybe let the beard get a little scraggly, says the guy with the scraggly beard.
So I like that they're trying this with him, and he definitely needs a new edge. He's like, it's one of those things where, iron sharpens iron, and he got as sharp as he could with what he was doing. He needs to settle into this still. So I'm not going to be like, because I don't believe the promo yet. And that's why he needs to settle into this more. Like, truthfully, what we need for this to truly take effect, we almost need an unhinged Kevin Owens style, like, beating on somebody, like Trick puts that on somebody and puts them on the shelf for a couple weeks. Like we need an unhinged Trick a little bit at the moment, and I
I
think
can see
that's
that.
what's
That
missing.
would be really cool. I think that would be really, really cool. Like, yeah, he just beats up on like Eddie Thorpe after something happens, or just beats up on somebody even.
Yeah, like get some color on somebody, because NXT doesn't really do that. And like, okay, break from tradition, get a little bit of color. Yeah, it'll be good. Like, and truthfully, if you're gonna do it to somebody who's beloved.
Yeah.
Like somebody who was close with Trick when Trick was, the happy-go-lucky world champion, who comes out and is like, no, don't, you don't need to do this, and Trick just snaps and beats
Andre Chase. He does it to Andre Chase.
I'm okay with that. It's not going to make me. I'll be like, cool.
Yeah, like I think that's the right guy.
It
Actually,
would be.
It might make me sympathize for Andre Chase. Probably not. We get the next match. The main event of the night is going to be the 6-woman tag match with Julia, Stephanie McCur, Jordan Grace, and they're going to face Fatal Influence. This was a good match. It was everything that I thought it was going to be. Everyone did their jobs. The baby faces went over. I think the story here is more who is Jordan Grace? What title is Jordan Grace going to set her sights on? Because Jordan Grace versus Julia or Jordan Grace versus Stephanie Vactor, I am completely fine with either one of those matches.
So in a weird way, I kind of am hoping they do this with her. Don't have her set her sights on a title just yet, because you've got Steph and Julia, who they're BFFs. They show it off out there. They'll compete with each other and treat it as competition with each other, but you can tell like it's afterwards they're going to go hang out together. So let Jordan kind of get involved in that and almost act like she's protector. And I almost hope in a weird way it turns into, let's say, 6 months down the road, something happens where it's a triple threat for them for all the marbles, and Jordan Grace takes both titles.
I can see that. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool, actually.
And establish her as like the true juggernaut, but have her go heel on the two beloved babyface women champions.
Jordan Grace is one of the only other ones that I could see not spending a whole lot of time in NXT.
I mean, she's definitely incredible.
I don't hate the idea of Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley.
I love the idea of Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley.
I was just softballing, lobbing that one up to you. All right, so that was NXT. Again, they did another decent show. They're doing NXT things, and nothing about it. Everything that they're doing with their TNA agreement, everything is just clicking right now. It's hard for us to find, critiques on a lot of their stuff just because A, it's developmental, B, they're putting on a good show. And I think they're learning a little bit from working with the TNA stuff because TNA keeps putting on good shows.
Yeah, and we were experiencing a bit of burnout on our end with things because NXT was kind of in its palate cleanse mode and AEW was AEWing all over itself. And
so much AEW.
It's good right now that we're back on. The pendulum had to swing, and it was so good for a while that it had to get bad, and we're definitely on the swing back to the good right now. So I'm all for it.
I completely agree with that. All right, so let's move over to the AEW side of things. Dynamite from February 19th, 2025. It opens up with an MJF and Hangman Page in-ring face-to-face thing. Let's just call it a thing. A segment, I guess would be the term. So they have the stipulation that neither one of them are allowed to lay hands on the other one. Otherwise, there is a hefty fine because Tony Khan needs them.
It's like $17. That's a bit. That's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, he's a cowboy.
That's like 6 cans of dip down there, bro.
That's what I'm just saying.
But so I want you to think about this. Now we've been saying for a little bit, MJF was feeling stale.
Yeah.
This returned to form in his promo here. But did you ever notice when we're getting the most epic of MJF promos, it's always guys cross the ring from each other, corner to corner. It seems like there's something about that where the moment almost has a bit of gravitas to it. And, you know, I make no bones about it. I'm a big MJF fan. I'm a believer in MJF. I still stand by the whole thing of if you're going to go over on him, it has to be for a reason. It can't just be because, okay, well, we're 50-50 booking this. No, you don't 50-50 book him. You book him 85-15, and the 15 are important when he puts somebody over. It was good to see, and it was, I think, in a weird way, I think there's been not even in a weird way, there's something, not really I wanted to say that. I'm sensing at AEW, the folks not involved in the world title scene, it feels like people are circling the wagons and everything is getting tighter. And the former WWE guys who are the older guys who are fighting over the title that we can't see that's in a briefcase, they're doing their own thing. Cool. You know, everybody else is like, keep us away from the Dick Riders and from rated Cope TR.
Yes, the Boar Horseman, and I feel so bad for FTR because they deserve to be involved. It's one of those things where I don't even buy FTR right now, man, and like that's sad for me to say because in what world are they not the best tag team in the world?
Any world where Tonga
they're teaming with
back.
Adam Copeland, Adam Edgeland.
Yes, Adam Edgeland. Well, listen, they're not the best tag team in the world when Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are together because Tonga Loa is the GOAT.
He's the GOAT. Jesus Christ, we're back to that. Yeah.
I mean.
Oh man. Hangman's been getting more interesting for me too, though. Like I'm happy with this promo. This is I'm gonna harken back to something that I've said about his promos. I think what he's saying is good. It's something, and you being a drummer, I'm going to say this way: it's his cadence. It's the tone of his voice. It's something with the constant deep breaths in between. Honestly, you want to know who his promos remind me of right now? They remind me of Jey Uso promos because Jey also does that where by the time he gets in the ring and he gets through the crowd and everything, it almost feels like he's blown up while he's cutting promos. But I'm giving him the credit of saying what he's saying is good. It sounds good enough. It's just there's still one more little hill that he needs to get over, and Hangman will finally reach his final form at that point, and I'll be like, oh, Hangman should absolutely be the world champion at this point.
Hangman definitely has something. He's whatever it is, he does have at least a form of it.
I agree with that.
Some people don't. Some people have it. Like Rhea Ripley has it. MJF has it. Hangman Page, I don't know if he has all of it, but he definitely has a kind of it. And I'm not saying that to where he's, he carves out a niche because his in-ring work is spectacular. So he can go with anybody on the planet. It's his cadence a little bit. Yes, it does feel a little bit rushed. It's a little bit like if anybody's ever watched Metallica play live and you watch as Lars Ulrich is 2 measures in front of everybody else and, just showing everybody he's the worst metal drummer of all time. But he's so bad. I am so much better than Lars Ulrich and I am marginal at best. But and Hangman yells in moments he doesn't need to yell, and that's what throws it off too. And his yelling voice, it's he's Austin Powers. I'm having difficulty controlling the volume of my voice. Like that's what it is.
And like I said, I think I like this because he didn't yell. That's one thing I did like about this promo or during the segment, he didn't yell. He didn't yell during this, and it kept him there. It kept him centered with most of the stuff. And it felt like what he was saying was a little bit more realistic, where I get it. The Hangman Swerve program was like the definitive feud for a little bit for AEW. I feel like this is getting him back to a more centered place. And I get it. I still don't think we've said it for a while. There's no such thing as a true blue babyface. This is still the guy that, burnt a house down and, stuck a syringe in someone's face and stuff like that. Like I feel like like the fans, AEW fans are giving Hangman a lot more of a pass than most other people would have.
Yeah, I mean, Hangman he's a guy.
He's a guy.
He's a guy. He's kind of their guy. Wow, I just realized I was like, yeah, he's a guy. No,
he's a guy.
No crap hound. I was like, I used a complete wrong article in that sentence and was like, I said a thing and I said a thing wrong.
Too many pronouns, pal.
Listen, it's 2025. I don't even know how many pronouns there are anymore.
Oh man.
I ended a sentence with 9 prepositions because I'm an overachiever.
Yeah. But this is a good promo. This is good work from both the guys. They end the segment with MJF spitting in Hangman's face because that's not assault of any sort. Just legally it is.
No.
And then after security is kind of holding everybody back, Christopher Daniels comes out, and I like this the touch of like, yes, this is what I was looking for. This is what I was trying to get out of you, and you're giving it to us now. So
I don't know if you caught it, and I agree. It's great storytelling, but when Hangman turned around and was about to hit Christopher Daniels, one of the cameras or a boom mic was close to a crowd, and you hear a woman in the sassiest voice go, "Don't hit your daddy, Hangman," and it comes through over the broadcast, and I was dying laughing. Like,
I did not hear this, but now I have to. Now I'm going to go back and watch that. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's amazing.
It was the sassiest woman voice too. I was like, oh.
Oh, man. All right, we get an okay 6-man tag team match between Shibata, Hook, and Tahiti Fred, otherwise known as Samoa Joe, versus the Patriarchy.
Fred, I forgot about Tahiti Fred.
I like to break it out for you every so often.
Oh my!
I mean, we haven't talked anything about Fred the Bitch in a while.
Frank the Bitch Mortos.
Frank the Bitch Mortos. All right. The match wasn't bad, and the thing that I'm looking at more so, and I say this a little bit about NXT here and there too. You have Samoa Joe in this match, even more so than Shibata. Again, we've talked how Shibata is a legend, and his stuff in Japan is great in Japan. Mm-hmm. For the three young guys that are involved in this match, the Kip Sabians, the Nick Waynes, and the Hooks, I think it's really important that they were in this match with Christian and Samoa Joe to really, really get that placement of, again, I said this during NXT as well, hey, this is how a match goes. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Stop doing that other stuff that you're doing that I keep telling you not to do, and you keep doing it. Don't make me smack you type of thing. I'm gonna hit your hand with a ruler soon.
That's been the biggest thing for a lot of the AEW folks, is a lot of them, and it's virtually their entire younger portion of their roster has just needed time with somebody who slows them down, because yes, there's like we've mentioned it. The reason why for you and for me and everything else, the Bucks and Omega doesn't land in America because the Bucks and Omega in the Tokyo Dome is a completely different animal here. But even they're not the guys to take the younger guys and slow them down because they came up doing the wild PWG matches and the wild Bullet Club beatdowns and everything else over in Japan. So I'm gonna, honestly, they need a Miz over there, is what they need.
They need a Miz. They need honestly. I don't know why they're not making more use of a guy like Jay Lethal. There's so many guys that they do have there that they could be using to really utilize some of the stuff. Especially a guy like Jay Lethal. Like I use Jay Lethal because he does run a wrestling school. Like
Yeah,
you use a guy like that who's so good.
Him and Mark.
And he's not asking, and he's not asking you to not wrestle a high impact, fast paced style. He's just going to tell you like the best way to do it.
Yeah, he's going to help you find the actual pace for you to win the race, so that way you don't collapse before the finish line.
Exactly. The baby faces go over on this. At the end of this, I have written, I'm still not fully sold on Hook just in general, but I'm going to reserve full judgment for Hook for a little bit now that Joe is back in the picture to see if some of the stuff starts hitting a little bit better. Or my real fear is that unfortunately Joe's stuff is going to stop hitting as good as it normally does. That's my fear. I'm hoping that Joe brings Hook along. I'm hoping he doesn't fall down to Hook's level a little bit.
I'm hoping, and part of my French here, I'm hoping Hook doesn't buy his own bullshit. That's really what it is. I'm hoping that he doesn't become somebody who, like, he believes, like, yeah, I am this monster. You are 74 pounds, sir.
And that's why he's holding a brick.
Yes. Go away now with your Sharon hair.
Sharon. And your potato chips. All right. So next match on the show is a street fight between Powerhouse Hobbs and Big Bill. Okay. I like these two hooking up. I don't have a problem with this match as a street fight goes. Let me tell you where I have a slight issue with this match. This is the first match that these two have had, and they're already having a street fight. I want these two guys to hook up because I like these two guys together. I like Powerhouse Hobbs and I like Big Bill. And these are two younger guys who are big, who epitomize that larger than life thing. And these are guys that at some point could hook it up with a Lashley or Shelton Benjamin or someone like that. And you'd be like, oh man, yeah, like I'm excited for this. But starting them off in a street fight just always seems like the wrong way to go. And this is unfortunately the epitome of AEW booking is. We're going to give you the blow off right off the bat.
Exactly that. And I mean, the Big Bill going through the barbed wire at the end was rough. It's like, I mean, okay, I've been hit with barbed wire. It's not fun. I did the barbed wire thing once, never did it again because it's not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not. I did the thumbtack thing once. It's not fun. It doesn't hurt so much when they go in, but the pulling them out really sucked.
You keep making that face like when you've had a drink that's too strong and it shoots straight to your eyeball.
Yes, and then the shower afterwards. That one stung. But it's. I see what AEW is trying to do. They tried to make two guys who are larger than life have a moment that was larger than life, but there was no need for it right now. So let's hope that they learn from their mistakes here, because it seems like they have been learning from their mistakes outside of the world title picture.
Yeah, there's that. Like I said, I like both these guys. I actually don't even have a problem with this match per se. The only critique I have for the actual match itself is, and I know it's a street fight, I would like some of these guys to stop fighting into the crowd so much.
And the whole crowd thing.
That's the thing is and I have a real reason behind it. Is by them going into the crowd so often, it limits what they're able to do. Whereas if they're fighting up onto the stage and onto the ramp and outside the ring, I get it's a street fight. But if they're doing all of that, there's more room. Like, you can do stuff. Everyone can see you. The crowd that you're fighting into now is blocking the rest of the crowd from seeing your stuff.
Yes, there's definitely the visual obstruction aspect of it, and there's only so long I can stay mentally checked into a match when the pacing goes right hand, walk for 5 seconds, right hand, walk for 5 seconds, right hand.
Exactly.
Like once in a while, it's great. And you want to know who ends up doing them great all the time is when Randy Orton does them or when Kevin Owens does them. They do them right.
I agree with that.
Because usually somebody gets a beer stolen from somebody and it gets thrown in the other person's face. And I go, haha. That guy just wasted $25 on that 3-ounce beer.
Congratulations. It's $14 beer night.
What a bargain.
Oh, all right. Next, the next big thing we get on Dynamite is a timeless Toni Storm in ring promo. I like that she's the world champion again. I like this promo. I like that she kind of gives an open challenge to any woman around the world to come after her. I love the fact that she's still calling out Wendy Richter. That's amazing to me. Thank you.
Yes.
It ranks right up there with you calling out Takeshita.
I do love it. Timeless Toni Storm is my favorite character in AEW.
And after that, there is a Boar Horseman in-ring promo. Here's the thing, and I know we talk about it ad nauseum almost, but I feel like everyone else is too. If you listen to any other wrestling podcast, if you listen to any other pro wrestling fan site, Busted Open, any of it, no one is on board with the Jon Moxley stuff. No one. Except for Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
And they just keep doing it. And it's all encompassing your world heavyweight title, your most important championship. It's the biggest problem I have with this. During this, Jay White comes out, which my initial reaction was because they said Copeland wasn't in the building. How many times are we gonna have? My first reaction was, how many times are we gonna have Marina Shafir beat the crap out of Jay White?
I don't want to get in a rant on Marina Shafir again.
I don't, but that's my real question at that point. And so Edge comes out and surprises them. This is another pointless fight amongst a lot of pointless fights in the world title picture. And I'm going to give it to you this way, Hound. I didn't used to think this. Copeland's going to win the world title.
I'm actually hoping he does at this point.
I think he's going to, but here's my real fear. Copeland's going to win the world title and Christian's going to cash in. And I don't know if I'm okay with the change. It's still not great. It's not great because of the stuff they've been doing. Both of them haven't been doing great stuff lately.
I think Copeland has to win it at this point because unless Moxley has echo chambered himself that hard that the two people on the planet who are AEW fans who are like, no, Jon Moxley should hold the belt forever and have a Roman Reigns style run. Because I promise you, there's 2 or 3 people out there who believe that.
Those people are wrong. Yeah, they're wrong.
Like, I'm all for you having your own opinions and everything else. And normally I'm like, hey, that's your opinion. We'll agree to disagree. No.
Listen, Legion, how many times have Hound, how many times have you and I told the Legion, listen, if you like this sort of thing and that's the type of thing that you like, that's cool. It's just not my thing. We've said that before. In this case, no one likes the John Moxley stuff. They're in a plain group that goes around and murders people. The only one who doesn't walk around in a plain white t-shirt is Pac, and that's because he doesn't wear clothes.
Well, yeah, I mean, he stays ready.
That's what it is. Yes.
He just stays ready.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's move on before we get on too much of a rant on Moxley. All right, so we get a backstage Mercedes promo. It's a Mercedes promo, but we get clarity on after Wrestle Dynasty, which was the New Japan thing with Momo Watanabe. I believe that's how you say her name. She won that 4-way match, and she gets to choose a champion to go after. And apparently, after Grand Slam Australia, she has chosen Mercedes Moné in the TBS title. I think this is going to be a good match. I think Momo Watanabe is amazing. I think that this unfortunately lessens your AEW Women's World Title even more.
I see where you're going with that. So I don't feel that anybody holding a title that is not the Women's World Title or the AEW Men's World Title, I don't believe anybody not currently in program with them, the way things are being billed, is capable of taking those titles, because they really have made such a divide. And Toni Storm, for a good reason, because if you're going to go out there and compete with her, first of all, look, she's fantastic in the ring, but timeless Toni Storm is an unbelievable character. It's incredible. The AEW World Title is just like, it's the you used to be in WWE title now.
Exactly.
And that's why there's such a divide between. So in a weird, like, as much as I'm like, all right, I'm ready for Mercedes 9 belts or whatever the hell she is at this point, to lose some stuff, I see why she has to keep it. Because the moment you take that off of her, she has to go towards Toni Storm. But the moment you take that off of her, are you now killing the name attached to something like that when maybe we don't see it yet, but this is exactly what that needs to cement this as like a whole thing, if you get where I'm going with that.
I see where you're going. Hound, I'm gonna throw a scenario out to you, just because it's been, as much time as it has since we've really sat down and talked about different wrestling stuff on air, at least. So Mercedes defended against Harley Cameron in Australia. The quote unquote hometown girl, even though Australia is like the second largest country on the planet.
Yeah.
So then, Harley Cameron has been getting over very, very organically on her own. The fans have gravitated towards her. Would you, if you were holding the pencil, would you have rolled the dice and put the belt on Harley Cameron in Australia?
Not yet.
Not yet. I really did want to know that. I've gone back and forth a few times on whether or not I would have, and I'm like, I think I might have just done the ending of the match a little differently. I don't think I would have had her win it, but I don't think I would have had her win the title. I think I maybe would have had her win the match and just not win the title.
100%. That is the right move right there, because then you see what kind of legs this has. Because the roar of the crowd is artificial in that night. So now let's let the roar of the crowd, and let's see what kind of momentum that carries forward. And okay, maybe then there's, holy crap, Mercedes just lost the belt to somebody we did not expect. So I don't think Momo Watanabe takes the title off her, but I hope she does.
I don't think so. I don't think she does either. The only other thing I would have said about Harley Cameron is I'm not surprised, but I am surprised that we're not seeing more like merchandising coming out of her between the stuff with the puppet and everything that she's done. You know damn well if she got over this well in WWE, that puppet would be like pushed to the gills.
Well, yeah, I want one of the puppets.
Yeah, like you can't tell me that they wouldn't have sold 30 million of those things already.
Oh, 1,000,000,000% they would have.
I
And
mean, when Alexa Bliss brought out Lily, how many of those Lily dolls did they sell?
Dude, I tried on 3 different occasions when it first came out to buy one for my daughter, and every time they were sold out. And so I was like, I'm just going to wait until I'm at a WWE event. And, and then life happens. And you're like, oh, it's been 6 years, and I haven't done a thing other than work.
Yes. All right, let's move on from that, though. We actually have a match after all of that, which it's going to be Megan Bayne versus Chris Statlander. I have been on the Megan Bayne bus for a little while. She's one of the ones that I have paid attention to, mainly because we have mutual acquaintances. I'm a fan of her look. I'm a fan of she has a very distinct size and things like that go along with her. And this is her versus Chris Statlander, who I've been a fan of Chris Statlander for a while. Actually, I think the worst thing they did with Statlander was put her back into normal wrestling gear. I thought she looked so different when she was in the heel gear, in like the torn up jeans. It was very different than what everyone else in that women's division was wearing, and she stood out.
Yeah, I'm going to point out you just missed a layup because you said you were on the Megan Bayne bus.
I didn't want to say train.
Why? No,
I didn't want to say train.
You say
because I knew it rained, or I knew it rhymed. See, now I'm rhyming.
Yeah,
Want a peanut?
The Megan Bayne train in the rain does rhyme.
Yeah.
And you know what? Man. There is no Megan Bayne bus. It is a train.
Sorry. I like that this match was a series of one-ups. I'm going back to work here. I like that the match was like a series of one-ups. I think if they handle Megan Bayne correctly, she could be what Camille and some of these other big girls were supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. If they handle Megan correctly, she's what they want Marina Shafir to be, but she could actually be it.
Yeah. I just can't wait for the inevitable Beth Phoenix to come out and murder Marina Shafir.
Just murder. Yes. Also, Megan Bayne is young. She's got there's a lot of legs left in on that career, so she can go. The only thing I didn't get at the end of this was the awkward Thunder Rosa standoff, making the save where they were trying to grab the chair from her, and like she literally dropped it at one point. Like this was just a sloppy save. It's funny because the rest of the match was fine. The rest of the match was actually pretty good.
Yes, the match was enjoyable. Thunder Rosa absolutely did not stick the landing.
No.
She made it all the way to the site of the crash, and she beat the paramedics by 30 minutes. Like, it did not land well.
Like Thunder Rosa had the match was a really good beam routine in gymnastics, and then when she went to do the backflip off of it, just landed on her head.
Yes.
Oh man! All right. After that, there is a Ricochet promo. They finally found a way to make his bad promos work, and it's by making him a heel. You said this a few weeks ago, and I'm agreeing with you. What I'm going to say is, I've been saying this for years as well, is that he is a heel, and he has been a heel for years. He just got cheered because he was a smaller guy that did fancy moves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's... Ricochet is a dick. Like, and he should just be a dick. Like, at all times.
You know what's funny is he does the thing in this that you said he should do, which was like play off the fact that he's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
And he's starting to do it. I have a question. This is a real question, serious question. Serious. Why are all the heels wearing turtlenecks nowadays? Why is that the bad guy thing? Like, why are you why, if you're going to be a megalomaniacal maniac, you have to wear a turtleneck? I don't understand it.
Look, man, I don't know. All I know is I don't wear a turtleneck, and I especially don't wear a turtleneck with a backpack, because then it feels like a really weak little person is strangling me all day long. But
I love the fact that you said it, because I've actually been listening to Mitch Hedberg again. Oh man!
Look, man, I don't know. I don't know fashion. You've known me for dude. I have like 4 pairs of jeans and 9 shirts, and that's what I wear, and like 3 pairs of sweatpants. That's all I wear.
And like out of those 9 shirts, like 6 of them are hoodies.
Yeah. 100%.
This is amazing. Oh man! All right. At one point during this, Nana comes out very serious and asks for his robe back, because he's not the wrestler that he used to be. So, and Ricochet says, "Why don't you take it?" This is getting it's not bad. They're doing better stuff with this right now, and the fact that Swerve and Nana involved, I think that makes it better. And finally, we get the main event of the evening, and that's Roderick Strong versus Orange Cassidy. Winner of this gets to go on to face your arch nemesis. And the match is good. My issue is that they're both baby faces in this match, but it's fine because they're going after a title. So I'm putting a little bit of a pin in that. This was I feel like a lot of this. I feel like Orange Cassidy, a lot of the stuff that he's doing now is he just wants to get back to having fun.
Yeah.
Because the last time we saw him, he was being murdered.
Well, he finally escaped the Dick Rider vortex of doom.
Yeah. Oh man. So he ends up winning the match. So he's going to move on to face our boy Takeshita.
Your boy.
My boy Takeshita.
Listen, I have forgiven Takeshita because, like I said, I have been reconnecting with my faith, and a big part of Christianity
you're still not friends.
is, it's forgiveness. So I forgive him, but I don't like him.
I feel like this is fake forgiveness.
No, it's very real.
This is like when you tell somebody you forgive them just so that you can say apology, so that you can hear them say apology accepted. Or like something like that, and then they're like, I don't accept your apology. I don't want your forgiveness. I don't feel bad about this. And then you're like, now we're fighting again.
Well, I mean, listen, that's exactly what's going to happen here. And listen, and this is part of me maturing as a human, as I've realized forgiveness is a gift that you give to somebody. Now, if you happen to not accept my gift to Keshta, I may lose myself just for a minute and show people that, I may be a Christian, but I don't forget the world I come from. No, it's wonderful. No, I mean, it's good. Look, Orange Cassidy and Takeshita are going to put on an incredible match.
I think they're going to put on. I think that's a really good big man, little man match type of thing.
It is. There's going to be a bunch of near falls. We're going to have a couple of like gasping moments where you think Orange Cassidy's going to win it. They'll do the job well. In the end, somehow Takeshita will murder him. And I don't want to
hit him with a giant forearm and a lariat, and then hit that fire thunder driver thing that he does.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
So
yeah.
After the match, the Callis family comes out. So it's Mark Davis, Don Callis, and Takeshita. And they start jumping Orange Cassidy. Omega comes out to make a save. And they end up helping each other, almost like teasing the idea that the match at Revolution could be Omega versus Orange Cassidy. I think we all know the match needs to be Omega versus Takeshita. It needs to be Omega versus Takeshita.
It does. You know as well as I do, if they do that, the international title's going on Kenny.
I was just going to ask you that. Do you think that when they have the match, do we think that Omega is going to win that?
Yeah, I do, because you're coming off of like, look, Kenny Omega's not everybody's cup of tea. Kenny Omega happens to be my cup of tea. I enjoy Kenny Omega, but for him to come back from the time off he had from diverticulitis to come back to put on that just unbelievable match with Gabe Kidd, to coming back to doing the stuff that he's doing here in AEW and it being received so well. And you can tell he's 100% going, I'm going till the wheels come off right now. I know I don't got a ton of time left. And not having a ton of time left might be 3-4 years. But he knows he's much, much closer to the end than the beginning. And
especially with the style that he wrestles. Like, that's one of those things is his style has decreased. He's a running back. He's not a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's definitely a running back. And I think we're going to start seeing more of Omega from the G1 Classic in the matches over here now. And if we do start seeing that, as long as there's not 9,000 V-triggers per match, I'll be okay. Like 8,999 is the limit.
That's the limit. There it is. No.
You can't go over 9,000.
He's over 9,000. So how that I have one question that's a little bit of a hot take. It's not a full hot take. It's a little bit of a hot take. It's more of an opinion from you that I really want, because I'm not sure if I know the answer right now.
Okay.
Is Don Callis a good manager? Like, for real, I'm actually really asking this because, like, and you and I have been wrestling fans for a very, very long time. I'm turning 43, which means you're 44. Correct?
No, I'm not. Don't you dare.
You're turning 44.
Not until November. How
you're
dare
turning
you,
40.
sir?
So
Shut up. I'm not in the mid-40s yet. I have less than a year. Then I'm in the mid-40s. Okay.
As of April, both of us will be 44 years or 43 years old.
Shut up.
As of April, both of us will be the same age. We have been wrestling fans for 4 decades.
Yes.
We have seen amazing managers. We've seen the Heenans and the Cornettes and the Heymans and the Gary Harts at one point, and a lot of these people. And I don't put him. It's not even that I don't put him in those ranks. I don't know if I put him in as a good manager.
Okay. Don Callis is a good manager in the way that Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a good movie.
Like, he's not, but you love it. Like, you love to hate it type of thing.
It's so bad it's good.
Okay, I could see that. See, I'm coming along with that. This was a real question. I really just it's one of those things where I was looking at, I'm like, I don't know if he's actually good at this or if this is just the only world he's known. And he can't get out of it now.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, he's never. Let's put it this way: he was chased out of TNA.
So, Bryan Danielson has said it the best when he was trying to fight Kenny Omega, and Don Callis went to talk, and he turned and looked at him, and he said this with his whole chest. He went, "Shut up, you carny piece of shit."
Yeah. Okay, there it is. Yeah. I'm actually really happy that we're closing with this, by the way. Like, this was the perfect thing for us to close on. Because I was watching this stuff and I'm just like, I don't like him, but I don't know if I don't like him in the sense that, like, I don't like him because he's a heel, or I don't like him, like, get off my screen. I don't even want to see you get your ass kicked. I just don't want you around.
So
he feels like a really good indie manager. Like, that's the thing. Like, to go along with your Carney thing, he's a great indie manager.
Yes. So, like, and this is something, and if you really chew on the way I'm going to phrase this, you'll see precisely where he 100% found his niche. So, Legion, my favorite collection of movies of all time are the Trauma films, and that's like Class of Nukem High, Swamp Thing, The Toxic Avenger. They're terrible. I love them. I love those movies so much, especially The Toxic Avenger. But they're the worst. They're the worst god awful things ever. Don Callis is the Trauma film manager.
Yes. Is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes Trauma as well?
Probably. I forgot. I need to show my daughter Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Like, I still remember the show, the cartoon, because I was just gonna start singing the song for a second, but I was like, wait, I don't know if it's Trauma or not. But at the same time, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Oh man, guys, this Legion, this has been a lot of fun. This was a great comeback for us. I'm glad that we're back in your lives, and I can't help but notice that the Legion is growing. We are doing great things. We have a lot of big stuff coming in the works. Again, now that this move for me is done and my co-hosts are both healthy, it's crazy. The new year has not been well for our health in general. Everyone has gotten like four different shades of sickness. So,
yeah, and I never get sick, and I've been sick for a month and a half now.
So with that said, Hound, I'm going to kick it over to you so that you can close out the people how you always do.
Right. Well, Legion, thank you very much for spending time with us. We love and appreciate all of you. We hope you enjoyed our lunacy. We hope you find some laughter along with us, and I hope that I have exposed some of you to some incredibly awful movies that you're going to go watch, and I really hope we get a comment more about it.
By the way, it's Troma, Troma.
Yes. Yeah, no, they're incredible. Oh my God. Please go watch The Class of Nukem High and The Toxic Avenger. Oh my gosh, they're so good. Yes. They're the worst movies ever. Yeah. But Legion, again, thank you so much for spending this time with us, and thank you for giving us your most precious resource, your time. Take care of each other. God bless and be well.
And as always, folks, remember, tuck your chin when you bump.